We are back at the Shell V-Power Motorsport Parks. The Lamborghinis, you can probably hear them, are just about to take off down the lane and head out onto the grid for their second race of the weekend. Yesterday's was an absolute cracker. There was action aplenty. It was pretty chaotic at times. There was an opening corner incident which took out the round one winners from the race early. They really had to recover. In fact, we got a highlights package from the race number one. So here is what happened yesterday.
We get round number 2 of the Trofeo Australia underway. Have a look at the Raging Bulls. They charge down there, 3 wide. Who's going to jump into the lead there? Right across the front of the field there, in the middle of the pack, and a clip up the back there for the number 32. Not a nice way to start there. The SJM Iron Links Theodore Racing, Charles Ho Chi, got a bit of a whack, and ensuing, as it says on the side of the car, madness. Car number 65 absolutely nails it and jumps away nice and early there. Dan Wells gets himself an immediate advantage across the line there and streaks away from the field. A pro driver knowing exactly when he can go and does that. Again, looking to the inside. Roger Dubois plastered across all of their windscreens as they go down into turn number 1 that time there. The Arrows racing car of Gavin Huang gets into P2, and they all very gingerly, Dan, just making their way around now. Andre Couto doing a brilliant job in the Madness Racing outfit there as well. And we've got someone off just at the back of shot there, gathers it all back up. But boy, when you get it wrong, when these things break loose, it ends in tears down the inside now. Is that John Paul Drake coming through in the number 3? Yes, it is, sharing the car with Mark Pierce here this weekend for Jam Motorsport, the local team from the Bend Motorsport Park.
Here comes Osborne making another place up the inside now of Harry O. So that puts him up into position number 10.
Some really violent moves being placed here. Cars zigging left, zagging right, and bottling up there. The 32 running wide. The 8 and the 11 go through. So Selim Rafiq goes through. The 11 coming through is Gavin Huang at the moment at the wheel of that car.
He's actually coming under pressure from Hong, and he is in fact going to lose the place. So the local South Aussie falls back to position number 10. Number 95 has taken an off-track excursion. That's Z. That looks like it's out of turn number 3 on the run up the hill. So I think here we go, a further move for the number 84, the recovering Clay Osborne. That is now 6th position. Great move up the inside of Kirakali.
Go back and have a look here at the green number 33. And that is not what you want to... No contact with anything. Just a very ginger slide. TDK Pro Car type of livery there as well. Oh, the 7 off there in the replay. And that's another one. Dan McCarthy, I think, what did you say? Reaching for a new set of strides after that one.
Look at this recovery from Kat. She's performing very nicely, although, sorry, she's handed over now to her co-driver, but up to position number 11 now.
Oh, great, have a look at this. Oh, under brakes there. That car just dove to the right.
That's a very strange place to go off. So all by himself, understeers out wide, and is he going to hit the gill trap car? No, the championship leader just about avoids. Brilliant evasive action taken by the 84 machine. Cat-like reflexes to stay away. Oh no, there was a bit of damage. That's a shame. It must have been the slightest of slight touches, but it's just pushed the guard onto the tyre.
Into the lane. That's a real shame there for this car there as well. Points it to home. Checkered flag being taken. Car number 65 gets the win. There's Dan Wells, very, very happy indeed. Celebrating with the crew. Hugs abound with all of the crew there. Have a look at that smile. That's a work hard for result. Done a terrific job.
Hello and welcome back to Shell V-Power Motorsport Park. We're here for day 2 of round 2 of Lamborghini Super Trofeo Asia. We're absolutely delighted to be here. You can see this beautiful specimen of a safety car. It's a Lamborghini Huracan, and it gets even better than that. We've got 20 thoroughbred Lamborghini Super Trofeo Evo 2s currently getting ready for race 2 here this weekend. The anticipation is building. We can't wait to bring it all to you live. Without further ado, it's time to hand over to our commentators, Darren Smith and Dan McCarthy.
Thank you very much, Callum Brannigan. He seems excited himself down there as these cars have been out for their sighting lap. Coming back down through the pit lane as well, they'll receive the appropriate signals from pit exit to make their way around to the grid. Great to see the highlights package from yesterday's race. And you've got to say, Dan McCarthy, the car number 7, how when Leo had, to our best account, we thought 4 spins, and yes, off the score there as well. So I would suggest that car number 7 would probably try and get through the next 50 minutes of racing without replicating that from yesterday. But Dan Wells and Emilian did such a terrific job. Emilian Carde did a terrific job. Gavin Huang and Jonathan Chicotto home in second place. And for mine, the SJM Iron Link Theodore Racing, Leong Chung, Chow and Nikki Kayama did a tremendous result there as well. We'll have a chat more with Callum down on the grid.
Thank you, boys. Clay Osborne, yesterday was a bit of a tricky day, it has to be said, but you reset today, starting from pole position, thanks to your mega efforts in qualifying, yourself and Marco. What are your appraisals? What are you thinking about going into this race?
Yeah, hopefully Marco just has a clean start, brings it in P3, and then I'll hop in the car and hopefully see what I can do. But yeah, yesterday didn't go to plan, unfortunately. We're still leading the championship, but yeah, we'll see how today goes.
What sort of issues were you battling with the car after the numerous incidents?
Mainly steering. The steering was significantly bent, so I was kind of spidering around most of the corners. Some corners it would steer really well, the other corners it wouldn't. So yeah, we were just trying to manage it. Then obviously there was another incident, and that made even more damage. So it was just limping the car home to try and get the championship points is what we were trying to do.
We've got a lovely stack of tyres just behind us. We've got the slicks and the wet tyres as well. Do you anticipate needing to bolt on the wets at any point today?
Yeah, just preparing for everything. Obviously, there was a bit of bad weather this morning, but yeah, just preparing for everything. And yeah, we'll see what happens. Hopefully, it's a dry race.
Thank you very much, Clay.
Thank you very much.
Excellent to get those little chats just before the action breaks out, and good to speak with Clay there as well. Those guys are experiencing a pretty good run this season. We got down to the 3rd place, and Miki Kayama. Dan, you and I were exceptionally impressed yesterday with how Miki took to the track and also took to the racing that was thrown her way.
Yeah, absolutely. She did a phenomenal job alongside her teammate Charles Leong, really taking to this category really well. Both rookies in the series this year, but both have a lot of racing experience, both separate really international categories. Mickey doing a lot overseas, and Charles Leong, a Macau Grand Prix winner.
Gee, how'd you like to swap the commentary booth for that little booth for the afternoon? That looks like the very meaningful office in the Raging Bull there. Let's go down to Callum again on pit straight.
Thank you, Darren. Yesterday we spoke to Dan Wells on the grid, and you pretty much predicted the race and it unfolded as you thought it did. Are you anticipating another performance like that today?
Well, I'm not the one in control of this one, so it's a little bit harder to say. But I've given Emilian a few tips, every bit of experience which I have with the Lamborghini Super Trofeo Asia. Of course, we've got a row in front of us. We've got the AM driver there, Brian Lee, who's done a really good job in qualifying. So let's see how Emilian gets on today.
How's the tyre management with the Hancooks throughout the race? I hear they light up fairly quickly, but trying to manage the pace of the tyre throughout the race, is that another consideration for you both to work through?
No, definitely. I mean, yesterday, yeah, I was definitely keeping the tyres in good nick. How you treat the tyre, prep the tyre and everything's very important. But we've made some good steps this weekend with our engineer, Matt Harvey. We're really quite happy with the balance which we've got. So we've got a 15-minute race today. Maybe there's going to be a safety car on that first stint, and I'm going to be exceptionally hungry on that second stint.
Thank you, Dan Wells.
Thank you.
Spoken like a true race car driver there, getting exceptionally hungry for getting out there in the race. Well composed down there on the grid. I guess they're waiting to see how it all comes loose. Just a quick bit of fact, I guess, Dan, is that the grid isn't made up of the finishes yesterday. It is actually how qualifying 2 played out. So those guys will go back a spot on the grid. They ended up 4th in the second qualifying. So Unlike a progressive grid race, it is run out of 2 qualifying sessions, which count for race 1 and then race 2.
And that's great news for the 2 drivers on the front row of the grid who had absolute shockers yesterday. As we said, Marco Giltrap and Osborne had the incident at turn number 1 and lap number 1. They at least finished. The car alongside them, the number 63 machine of Changwoo Lee, who's been a real front runner, did really well in the opening round in Malaysia. Unfortunately, his race came to an abrupt halt right there. So great to see him back on the front row of the grid. And I believe Callum Brannigan's down there with a familiar face.
Thank you, boys. Sam Shaheen, 12 months ago we had Lamborghini Super Trofeo Asia here visiting for the first time. Back again, you must be very proud to see this.
Unbelievably proud, not just of the category, but the venue and the great people that have come out to support another magnificent event in South Australia.
So yesterday's race was highly energised. You anticipate another one like that today?
Well, usually everybody ups the ante a bit for race 2. So, drivers learn the track a bit more. They get their head around where they can go faster. And, everybody thinks they can go just a couple of tenths faster. So looking forward to some energy and great racing. This track is made for this sort of category. And I'm just looking forward to another great race.
Sam, thank you for bringing the series here and thank you for your time.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Always great to have an enthusiastic track owner involved in motorsport, and he is certainly a winner in his own right with One Make Racing in Porsches there as well with Sam Shaheen. We thank the Shaheens so much for investing into South Australian and Australian motorsport, owning 2 of the permanent race tracks here. As we're looking out the front window of car number 32 at the moment, this is the Miki Koyama car, which we were just discussing, and I guess essentially saying what a great drive yesterday was turned on, got in the car, turned up the wick and really drove it hard all the way to the end there and brought home a nice result.
I'm sure she and Charles Leung will be providing us plenty of highlights from this onboard camera here today. So looking forward to seeing what they can do in this race. They were certainly a leading contender throughout that race. Can they match Chicotto or potentially even take it to the likes of the number 84 machine of Giltrap and Osborne on the first position?
The 93 machine was home in 4th place after a torrid lead in to race number 1, and that is the 2 locals of Adrian Dietz and Tony D'Alberto. We'll come back to Adrian and Tony in just a moment. We go back down to the main grid.
Thanks, Daz. Charles, yesterday's performance was amazing, finishing 3rd in the race. Are you expecting another performance like that today?
Yeah, for sure. We always try to push for P1, and yeah, we know we have the pace now. We just need to be patient, put everything together, and I believe the results will come naturally.
Are you thinking about the championship more than overall performance, or it's all part of the performance?
Of course, I always try to approach to be perfect in every aspect. So, yeah, just gonna do everything correctly and do my best.
Thank you, Charles. Go well.
Thank you.
Charles Leung is a ripper driver, and I spoke to him yesterday, I think it was yesterday morning, and we were talking about the race, and he says, we're here for one thing, and that is to win. It was the way he said it was such a great answer. And another person who likes to win is Tony D'Alberto. He'll be starting a little bit further back in the order, but watch for that number 93 machine, the row directly behind. They finished 4th yesterday, winning the Pro-Am class, did he and Adrian Dietz. So looking forward to seeing what they can do. They started back in 15th yesterday, so starting position number 7. A lot more opportunity for that combination to potentially even challenge some of the pro combinations out there on the racetrack today.
The Madness Racing crew came home in 5th place yesterday. The Fang Ping Cheng and Andre Kuta. Andre Kuta did a tremendous job getting that result for the team yesterday. So we're waiting for the start of this race, but just going through those results yesterday. Looking forward to great things from Andre Kuta, and those guys are in car number 88. They'll be starting from quite a long way back, in fact, out of 13th place. So Fang Ping Cheng will be starting the race out of 13, and Andre Kuta will be taking the car home to the finish. 6th yesterday was Johnson Huang in the Taipei entry. YK Motorsports was Nick Nelvankang and D. Prakawarawat. Sorry if I've minced your names there, but doing a tremendous job there, bringing them home inside the top 10.
This is the number 93, Antonio D'Alberto and Adrian Dietz machine. Antonio D'Alberto was written on the entry list. I suppose it goes with the Italian Lamborghini theme, doesn't it? But we know him here in Australia as Tony D'Alberto, former TCR Australia Series winner and regular co-driver with Dick Johnson Racing, multiple-time Bathurst 1000 podium finisher.
Don't forget, in his own team, won the development series for himself, ran a two-car team for a long time, so experienced administrator, racer, team sponsor, coordinator, all of that sort of thing. So it's just nice for Tony to sit back, fall back on his heritage and become Antonio D'Alberto for the weekend and giving the wave there as well. Good to see. A full field, and it really is. These cars are super impressive, and they have all these aero adjustments there for adjusting air down the front of the car into the radiators and down the side of the car across the top onto the rear wing. Everything is very, very purposeful. You certainly don't want to get caught up like we did yesterday in a melee into turn number 1. Just watching that car number 7 will be coming out of position number 17. Had some issues yesterday. Jonathan Cicotto straight into the eyes of a race driver right there.
There's a couple of tales of woes further back down the field. So Salim Rafiq in the yellow and white machine on the sort of penultimate row of the grid there. He shares the car with Jasmine Jafar, who stormed through the field early in yesterday's race and sat as high as third or potentially even second at one stage in that race, but they dropped back late on in the race. So watch for Jasmine Jafar when he jumps back behind the wheel in the second stint. If there's a late race safety car, I wouldn't even rule that car out of a potential race victory late on in the day.
Certainly an outside opportunity for those guys. Big g'day to everybody assembling on top of the buildings here. And we are going to have a look around the fantastic layout here at Shell V-Power Motorsport Park. We hone right down on Tailem Bend. That's the famous Murray River, that green stretch of water making its way through the South Australian countryside. 18 turns, the action zones. Importantly, at turn 1, we saw it yesterday, it was where a huge coming together involving multiple cars. It's a wide corner. There's lots of track to use up, and still race drivers managed to come together around there, and that's exactly what happened yesterday. All sorts of issues concerned there. Around turn 4, turn 5, my favourite part of the track, under brakes down into turn 6, and set yourself up for a series of right-handers, normally done line astern of each other, these drivers. 8, 9, 10, 11, the switch back out of 11, and then 12. That's the difficult one. The 11, hold. Then you've got to swing the car back and then go right again. 13, very fast. Keep the pedal to the metal, or in this case, the carbon fibre firewall in the Super Trofeo Lambo Evo 2s. Up to turn 17, you want to set yourself up now for a wide open throttle run down to turn 18, and you complete the lap of Shell V-Power Motorsport Park. 4.95 kilometres, 18 corners. The track record held by Dallara F3 with John Magro at the wheel, a 140.279. Look at that. The Raging Bull being unleashed on pit lane as we see on board now the 84 Giltrap car, preparing for race 2 for the 2024 Lamborghini Super Trofeo Asia Series. And here is our grid.
Yes, this car will start from the pole position. It'll be a rolling start, and he will start alongside the number 63 machine with Brian Lee behind the wheel in the opening stint. Jonathan Cicotto will come out of position number 3. He won one of the races here last year. He'll be looking to do the same here today. Yesterday's race winner, the number 65 machine, the blue and black car, comes out of 4th. That car fielded by Evans Group. Miki Koyama comes out of 5th alongside Lee Zhanyu. Tony D'Alberto, look out for him in car number 93 out of position number 7. And then Decker Thorne out of 8th. Beyond that, Hazik O will come out of 9th. Bukar Rowan out of position number 10. Huang in 11th. And then our mate Super Chai out of position number 12 in the bright orange machine, ahead of Chen Fangping, Kumar Pragakaran, Mark Pierce, alongside him will be John Paul Drake in an all-Aussie combination. They start out of 15th ahead of He Xinyang. Final 3 positions are Song Jianjun, Selim Rafiq, and then Thomas Yu Lee, who was involved in a qualifying crash for this race in yesterday morning. He did qualify a little bit further up the field, but I think has been penalised for the incident down at turn number 1, which also took out the number 51 machine, which starts from 11th. But here we are. They are coming around the final corner. We are about to go green here in the second Lamborghini Super Trofeo Asia Series race, and they fan out immediately as the lights go out down towards turn number 1. A pretty even jump at the front, but it looks like the race winner yesterday in the blue and black machine has made another barnstorming start, but it's the number 63 that's going to lead them into turn number 1, but he hasn't quite got the exit. He's going to be swooped by both Marco Giltrap and the number 11 of Jonathan Chicotto. So 2 title rivals from last year jumping straight to the top of the order.
Billy Carde looked to want to challenge down at turn 1 there. He was hung out wide there. There's the blue and black car we're looking at, the number 65. That's who we're talking about. The 32, Nikki Kayama as well. Starting this race like she finished yesterday, very, very skillfully getting off the line there. The charging 95, which had some issues yesterday, a spin, a couple during the race there as well. Let's hope the 95 holds it all together. There is Tony D'Alberto, the 95 Centaur Products entry, the local Australian entry here for this weekend, along with the John Paul Drake Martin Pierce entry. They come around to that very important part of the lap, 9, 10, 11 and 12. The straight in sector 2. There they come up to 13 now. Lilia Carde sitting back there in 4th place. It's Chang Woo Lee that got away beautifully off the start line there. Johnny Chicotto in the mix there, right in front of Tony D'Alberto, the 93, monstering into the back of the car. There's our race leader, the 84, Marco Giltrap, with Jonathan Chicotto straight into the rear diffuser of that car. Looking left, looking right. Very aggressive start to the race. A dive bomb down the inside there by the SQDA racer, number 63, Chang Woo Lee, and contact. Cars going off.
The real benefactor there was this car on the screen. The number 65 has moved up 2 positions because of that. Our race winners from yesterday staying out of trouble on the opening lap and have inherited positions as a result. Marco Giltrap leads them across the line, but Emmeline Cardi, a great response there, quick evasive action, and took not 1 but 2 places. So really great racing early on, but it shows that Chang Woo Lee might be an AM entrant, but he can certainly drive. He did a great job at round number 1, and he's taking it to these pro drivers again early on in this race.
Harry on screen now in the yellow machine. Right behind was Mark Pierce in the yellow and black machine. As we look back out to the front of this race, Nikki Kayama doing a terrific job. There's the 93 of Tony D'Alberto for the locals here in Australia, looking for someone in this front group to cheer for. These guys have pushed very, very hard. They had to change an engine on Friday night. That means dismantling your Lamborghini Huracan Super Trofeo Evo 2, basically from the firewall behind the shoulders of the driver, back to lodge the engine back into it. Look there into the 9, Garawat, Thailand, was caught up in a bit of a melee there yesterday as well. Some little bits and pieces of contact. I've got to say, Super Trofeo in 2024 in the Asian Series, they're not shy to get a little bit of rubbing, are they?
No, certainly are not. There's some real high-quality drivers in this field. So this is what happened down at turn number 17 on the opening lap. It looked like Chicotto was having a real look at Giltrap, but further behind, in came the 63. There was a little bit of contact, and it pushed the number 11 wide off the road and through swept the 65, and the 63 gained a position as well as a result of the contact, but the number 11's got back through. Chicotto in the last few corners has overtaken Chang Woo Lee for 3rd position, but look who's behind, Miki Koyama. She is right there. She's very experienced in fast sports car racing. She races in the Super GT Championship as well in Japan, and she's showing just what a talented young driver she is. Sitting in 5th and right on the tail of the white machine, Chang Woo Lee. But look who's waiting just behind as well. It's the number 93 of Tony D'Alberto. They had a horror start to their weekend on Friday. Engine failure just a few laps into the opening session ruled them out for a majority of not only that session but the entirety of practice too. And they've been really playing catch up from there. Qualifying was essentially a practice session for them. Tony D'Alberto, fastest lap on the final lap to put him position number 7. But frankly, I think he was pretty pleased with that considering the amount of laps he had prior. So every lap at the moment, this team continues to learn. And it just shows the high-quality driver that Tony D'Alberto is, that he is up there in 6th position against some of these Lamborghini regulars.
The 95 there of Lee coming through at the second of the amateurs in this field, or so far in the results of this race. We go on board here. This is the very, very busy office of car number 32 out there on track at the moment. Started out at position 5. Miki Kayama is now up to, remains in position 5. Very deliberate movements on the steering wheel. Very calm, poised cockpit of this racing car, and just dipping it in there as well. Tony D'Alberto's got his mirrors filled with that number 95, the Lee car, which is the 610 Racing by Absolute Am entry, and he will be well aware of that car behind. The 95 yesterday was featured in a couple of very big spectacular spins on lap 7, and looked to go on with it. No damage, but it was very much through a lot of dust up in the air on what is a track that's quite wet around there, so managed to find dust. Here's the number 9 pulling our screens now and doing a tremendous job there. That's Kat in the YK Motorsports entry with Decathorn Peruako out in the car at the moment. Kat will be jumping in for the latter half of this race. This is the number 95 we've been talking about. Under brakes, dives into it. Kat and Decathorn right in behind there as well. Decathorn at the wheel at the moment though. The 11 for Gavin Huang and Johnny Chicotto. Chicotto at the wheel now, and we are fighting this out. Oh,
that's a tyre failure.
Has torn apart a Hankook, and that's the Madness Racing outfit of Steve Hong and Xing Hao He. And just trying to find where the 77 is. It's Zhang He at the wheel at the moment in 19th. Place and at the tail end of the field. As we look back to the front end of the field, here's Amelia Carde currently in 2nd place. Marco Giltrap just over 4 seconds up the road, the last year's champion of Michelin Sprint Challenge, and doing a tremendous job up there. You can see the tail lights in the distance, and this car here, Amelia Carde, who took the win yesterday with Dan Wells, and they are fighting very, very hard. Started out of position number 4 and established themselves very early in this race.
How cool is that? Just shows the speed that they fly past down pit straight. Giltrap continues to extend the lead. The recovering Chicotto has caught up now to Cardi, and the number 77 has not been able to make it back to the pits. I saw the yellow flags down at turn number 1, so that car is stationary there, just on the exit actually of turn number 3. There it is. So it was a pretty significant tyre explosion by the looks of it on pit straight, and it's damaged all of the right front of that Lamborghini Super Trofeo Asia car.
I'm going to speculate that race control are having a very, very close look at that. We don't tend to see cars go off there, but you know the old rule, if one car can get in there, another car potentially can. So they'll be relying quite heavily on the corner marshals there, and we have a big shout out to all of our volunteer corner marshals here at Shell V-Power Motorsport Park here this weekend, doing a tremendous job. It's been cold. The rain so far has managed to stay away. Here's the replay. Obviously something wasn't right because the car was way offline. So we thank Ji Hing He for getting off the line there, because there's some fair bit of debris being sprayed around. Yeah, look, that is not nice. You don't like to see your Lamborghini Super Trofeo Huracan Evo 2 being destroyed like that. As we look back to the front now, a couple of the real fast races out there on track at the moment. Amelia Carde, John Chicotto, all in the pro category. The first of the AMs is the next car down the road, car number 63, Changwo Lee. So doing a tremendous job in P4 for the AM class.
As he did in round number 1, as I said a little bit earlier on, he's an absolute fantastic driver and a real addition to the AM class. He's a good few places ahead of the next AM. If you look on the left-hand side of the screen, all of the orange cars, they are the pro combinations with not 1 but 2 pro drivers. The green are the AMs. Yellow is Pro-Am, where you got 1 Pro and 1 Am driver. So in the case of D'Alberto in 6th, Tony is the Pro, and Adrian Dietz is the Am. And then as well, the blue colours, that's Lamborghini Cup, which in many years has been dominated by the orange machine, as we see a move, he tried, did Mark Pierce up the inside of Hazik O, but ran in too deep at turn number 1 and relinquishes that position once again. But I was going to say that the orange machine just ahead of those two of Super Chai, he has been a multiple time winner in that class, and he's currently out front ahead of those two. That was the fight for second in the Lamborghini Cup category.
So we're getting word in from race control that the safety car has been called to stand by Zark. That is a massive run there by Mickey, getting right up into the car in front here. So that is fantastic. Mickey Koyama impressing the two of us here in the commentary booth. No end.
I've just seen from this magnificent onboard, look, top right of the screen, they have a camera out the back of the car to show what is behind them. So that's a pretty good innovation.
And I can tell you the first one that did that, it was Lamborghini Diablo GTR, where they had a Clarion camera mounted on the back of it for the first time at Mount Panorama at Bathurst all those years ago. 99 was the first time we saw those cameras start to appear in race cars.
That was, you were around that category at that
I
time very much, weren't
yes.
you? Yes, exactly. I was going to say it was that very vehicle, wasn't it? So there you go. So, and great bit of history that it's Lamborghini as well. Nice little connection there.
It is, yeah. Great brand, the Raging Bull. Certainly, you think about it and you think about cars that go fast and look awesome. Purposeful cars like these Super Trofeo Evo 2s, and like everything with a good brand, and evolution of the brand is often the way to go. That you don't often see revolutionary manoeuvres, and this is where these sorts of cars can do that, and we've seen the Evo 2 being used very, very nicely indeed. And ever so fitting that the course car, or the safety car, is also a Lamborghini Huracan out there as well, pacing these cars. We've got the, as Alan Moffat, a famous Canadian-born Australian race car driver, used to say, the vultures coming over to pick up the car, and that's what they do. They come over the big cranes and get them out of harm's way. Car number 84 leading the way. Marco Giltrap has done a terrific job. There's the calendar. Tail and Bend here this weekend at Shell V-Power Motorsport Park. In GE, South Korea on the 26th to the 28th of July. Fuji in Japan on the 18th of August. Shanghai, China, 13, 14, 15 of September. And Jerez in Spain on the 13th right through to the 15th of November. The world finals for Super Trofeo. Lamborghini Super Trofeo, all of them down there in Jerez in Europe to round out the series. But what a great way. Such a privilege for the Bend here this weekend to have Super Trofeo coming back for a second year in a row. Great cars to see, and clearly being enjoyed by many, many fans making the way to Shell V-Power Motorsport Park.
Including our co-commentator Martin Ancaro, I can see on the right-hand side of the screen. So he's enjoying the Lamborghini action from up on the top of the tower. It's such an amazing view, as we say, up there on the racetrack. Look at the amount of fans that have flocked up there. They're also scattered around. It's a park and view, so you can bring your car in, park it around turns number 4 and 5. Give us a wave. You are on the Blendline TV stream, not only around the nation, but around the world as well. That's one of the great things about streaming in this modern day and age, that we are going out to everybody around the world. And great to see so many people here after what was a pretty awful morning weather-wise. It's clearing a little bit now, and great to see so many people back after yesterday's exciting opening affair.
I don't make the news and I don't report on the weather well, but I'm looking at a screen here now and it is clear of rain for quite some time. There's something right out over Yorktown, out on the Edinburgh Peninsula area there, but a long, long way from where we are, a couple of 100 kilometres away here at the Tailem Bend. So everybody up there on top of the Visitors Centre, you should be enjoying a good couple of hours. See out the Lamborghini Super Trofeo Asia Series in nice conditions. Kids enjoying the day as well. That was about the same age I was when I first came to the racetrack, and haven't stopped coming back ever since. And I'm not going to let you know how long that's been, Dan.
So let's just delve into the state of play at the moment. We're under safety car conditions, and we will run you through the order. It's Marco Giltrap that leads the way. The race 1 and race 2 winners in Sepang, trying to recover from a disastrous day yesterday. They are leading the way, and he built quite a considerable margin over yesterday's race winner in Emmeline Cardi, but this safety car has very much neutralised things and really brought the 65 car back into contention. The number 11, Jonathan Chicotto, comes out of third. He is the Pro-Am champion of last year, but a great driver, and got a new co-driver this year, allows him to move up into the outright pro class, and was fighting for victory yesterday. Changwoo Lee, the very fast Am driver, sits in fourth in the white number 63 car, ahead of Miki Koyama in the number 32 machine, that red Lamborghini. Tony D'Alberto in the black and red number 93 car is in sixth. They lead the Pro-Am class. He and Adrian Dietz. Then beyond that we have Wanyu Lee, Purkut, and Huang and Chen rounding out the top 10. Leader of the Lamborghini Cup is still Super Chai in 13th position. But this really neutralises things, and I note as well that a lot of the Pro-Am combinations have put their Pro in first. So this safety car is unfortunately costing them a lot of Pro running, and it means that it will come down a lot more heavily in those classes on the speed of the Am rather than the speed of the Pro. So that could change the order up a little bit for the amateur classes later on in the race.
Yeah, I think by that you mean the effect on the race that the Pro driver will have,
yes.
And that is fast running and gapping the field. At the moment, everyone is essentially back in a starting position, and we're back on board with the 32 here. Subtle wheel movements and getting as close as possible and remaining safe to the car in front. Let's see how we get underway to exit the safety car and get back underway here. Let's hope that everybody keeps it nice and straight and we don't get any stultus insensus, as they'd say in Latin. And by that, I mean stupid driving. Let's get on with it and get this race back underway. Some Aussies enjoying their time up on the hill here with their four-wheel drive in the background. That's pretty much how many Aussies go to motorsport. Bring out the barbecue chair, pull up a seat and watch these magnificent Italian raging bulls get underway. And that's what they're about to do. It's going to be a rage here at Shell V-Power Motorsport Park, and the bulls are all about to go back at it. 19 of them going to be unleashed on the South Australian landscape. As the safety car exits the field, we come onto this magnificent front straight, 1 kilometre long. Put the boot in, 620 horsepower unleashed onto the straight, and away we go. There goes Marco Giltrap. Have a look at Emilian Carde looking up the inside now as gets through. Johnny Chicotto makes that very, very difficult indeed. In fact, gets through Chicotto into P number 2 there. Then it's the SQDA Soda grid car trying to get through there of Changwoo Lee, the first of the AMs, and they are batting well above their position. Miki Koyama just trying to hold on there. Tony D'Alberto will be starting to pull it up onto maximum a track. 31.5 minutes left in this race. There's the SQDA Soda grid car and the 63 going around there. Changwoo Lee driving the race of his life. The 84 leading away. Marco Giltrap for Lamborghini Auckland, representing their brand out of the land of the long white cloud here today at Shell V-Power Motorsport Park at Tailem Bend. The car's streaming on through. There goes Super Chai, one of our favourites here at the Bend Motorsport Park. He's Warongpong Super Chai to his friends. That's what we like to look after him as when he's here in Australia. Chang Woo Lee again, right up onto the back of Emilien Carde. Dan Wells will be getting into that car. The 63 Brian will be holding on there. Chang Woo Lee in the SQDA Grit Motorsport outfit.
That's a lot of the combinations are going to change in the very near future. The pit window will open in exactly 30 seconds time, but that will be at least one more lap for these guys. So through they go. But for some of them it will be their last lap of the Shell V-Power Motorsport Park for this weekend, because yes, that pit window is about to open. As we look a little bit further down the field, this is the fight for 10th position between Chen and Bunkarowen. And Bunkarowen has got the run down the straight, and there's a bit of body work damage to the front right of that machine. Doesn't appear to be affecting him too bad down the straight with all the aero, but it seems to have got back in line now, so just a little bit of loose body work on the number 78 machine. But it roars out of turn number 3, and boy oh boy do they roar at this circuit. The V10 sound absolutely awesome, echoing around this facility. It just seems to me that the number 78, that bit of body work comes up when it's at high speed on a straight, but as soon as he goes back on the brakes, it files back into where it should be. This is tight, this is close. This is Emilien Carde, Chang Woo Lee and Miki Koyama in their fight for 3rd position. They've lost 3 seconds in just over a lap to the leading 2 in Marco Giltrap and Jonathan Chicotto. And here we are, look, drivers are ready. They are in the lane, ready to jump into their Lamborghinis. There will be several driver changes this lap because the pit window has now officially opened. Here they come out of turn number 16. Who's going to be first to pit? If you're a pro driver, do you try and stay out to avoid any sort of lap traffic being an issue on your outlap? It's always a bit of a strategy game, this one, because you don't want to find yourself coming out in the middle of lapped traffic.
Gee, it's a traffic jam here at the moment, isn't it? Piling up behind Chang Woo Lee, Miki Koyama, Antonio D'Alberto. And Emilien Carde's in, Chang Woo Lee is in. So 2nd and 3rd in the race have made their way in for their stop. That car there that we're looking at, that will be Emilien Carde getting out. Dan Wells will jump on board there. Dan was standing in the lane yesterday when they won the race. This time he gets to drive it to the end. We're yet to find out who will actually win this race, but this team certainly, Dan, you would have to expect, would be favourites for the final run to the flag here. We're nowhere near that yet. We're still 27.5 minutes away from at least that time, away from a checkered flag. So Dan Wells needs to get out, re-establish position, re-establish track place, and they will continue on with it. A very calm pit stop. These two drivers are very well versed. They've practiced that changeover, and Dan Wells just getting all those safety features done up. A nice reef on the belt, and they get back to it. The timer going there as well. Start the engine, hold, and away we go into back onto the track there. So getting away, the driver's lap number 65 gets back out on track there. So nicely done. Looks like that looked like the Super Chai car in pit lane, as everyone just slowly exiting their compulsory pit stops. Just watching the Jam Motorsport crew. John Paul Drake will be now on board. Mark Pierce get out. JP had just got out of the Formula 4 certified by FIA category here, and these cars continuing on. This is Marco Giltrap out in front.
Chang Woo Lee came in at the same time as the number 65, so Wills has jumped behind the wheel. Minimum pit stop time from pit lane entry to pit lane exit is around about a minute 20. It was a minute 21.1 for the number 65 car. Chang Woo Lee lost a couple of seconds in that pit stop sequence, a couple of seconds, 2.2 seconds slower during that pit stop transit. So that seconds loss that you really can't really find on the racetrack. Once again, bought by traffic is Giltrap. the number 11, draws alongside, but will be on the wrong side for this one. Surely he's not going to go the long way around. No, that's not going to work there. They're just trying to negotiate the lap traffic. The number 3 car of John Paul Drake, who has just jumped behind the wheel, and he finds himself right in front of the race leaders, fighting for the race victory. So straight out there in the thick of the action is the local South Australian driver, John Paul Drake, who did a great job there. He was wise to the situation and didn't get in the way. He stayed out of trouble, and it remains the same. Giltrap, the Kiwi, just about holding on from Chicotto. These two both won here last year, and yesterday we had a different winner. As up the inside, through goes the 84 of Giltrap on another lap traffic. Number 71 that was Super Chai that they've both navigated through. But in that middle sector, Giltrap has just eked out a little bit of a margin, just over half a second.
Of course, Super Chai has had his compulsory pit stop. These two cars have not yet perfected their pit stop. So Super Chai, just like John Paul Drake, just exiting the pits, and he stayed out of the way very, very nicely indeed in that very bright orange livery that he's brought to the Bend this weekend, this year. It's good to see Super Chai back here at South Australia. A lot of rookies in this year's championship as well. There's John Paul Drake holding onto the middle of the track there, and the leaders in the race just easing through there. There's a bit of a signal there from car 11 to car 3, maybe get out of our way. I'm pretty sure John Paul Drake tried to stay out of the way. Tricky part of the track to be caught by the leaders when you've only just jumped behind the wheel of the car. But Marco Giltrap now just holding on to just under a second lead here to Jonathan Chicotto. They're really holding those two out, aren't they, at the moment, the team? The two pro teams there, the 84 and the 11. Here's a traffic jam of royal proportions with Super Trofeo. It's not a traffic jam I wouldn't mind being in, actually, with these guys. But John Paul Drake just allowing Tony D'Alberto to go through there, and Lee also getting through in the 95, 610 Racing by Absolute, pushing through there as well. So John Paul Drake getting a baptism of fire coming out right in the thick of these cars that are fighting out for places. Yeah, certainly has. He sits 16th at the moment, but there's a lot more pit stops and things to play out still. 8 drivers or 8 cars are yet to complete their compulsory pit stop, and 10 have, so it's a pretty even split. Some coming in early in that stint, the others coming in 3 minutes when the pit window closes. They've got to do it in the next 3.5 minutes. Callum, I believe you're down there in the lane.
Yeah, thank you, Dan. I'm down here with a million card 8. That was a really good opening stint, mate.
Pretty good. I'm ashamed that I got overtaken at the restart, but I think I gave the car to Mudan in a good position. So hope he can dig deep enough to reproduce what we did yesterday.
Were you concerned about the timing of the safety car in terms of the pit stop sequence opening up?
No, we knew that it was going to restart before the opening of the compulsory pit stop. So we knew that we're going to have to deal with that, and I think the team managed it perfectly well.
Thank you a million.
Thank you.
While Callum was talking there, the race leader, Marco Giltrap, has come into the lane, and that leaves this car at the head of the field. Jonathan Chicotto, as we see the driver change taking place. I noticed Miki Koyama is really closing the margin to Chicotto as well, so she's playing herself into this race as well. There's a lot that's going to play out in the next couple of minutes, but we can see the number 84 machine is in the lane, and Clay Osborne has strapped himself in, just doing up the belts, making sure it's all nice and tight. And Marco Giltrap walks away. He's done his job. Now he hands over to Clay Osborne.
Car number 9 is also in now. That will see Decathorn Purakawat out of the car, and we'll see Kat jump in. So she drove very, very well yesterday. A couple of ladies doing a ripping job here this weekend. Miki Kayama and Kat in the number 9 car as well. The 84 exits the lane. Now let's see where it punches out onto the track as Marco Giltrap exits, and we see the 84 car rejoin the race there with Clay Osborne on board for Lamborghini Auckland. Here comes Dan Wells. Wow. This is cleansing itself quite well, isn't it, at the moment? Just watching where the cars are coming out onto track. Harry O in, Jay and Song also in, so there'll be driver changes as we go to replay here involving Jonathan Cicotto and the BC Racing car number 51.
They're teammates, Arrows Racing teammates, but the 51 that's already pitted nearly got in the way of the team car. I think the 51 had just come out the pits and then outbroke itself down at turn number 1 and nearly got in the way of the race leader, which has now come into the lane. And that's because there is only 40 seconds left until the pit stop window closes. So everybody else should be in the lane this lap. Jonathan Cicotto is one of them. Miki Koyama is another. So is Tony D'Alberto. And I believe that Callum's down there with the man who led that opening stint.
Marco Giltrap, that was a hell of an opening stint, mate. You did really well there.
Yeah, it was a busy one. Up until the safety car, it's pretty comfortable, just sort of cruising, keeping an eye on the tyres and just making sure I gave over a good car. But then when the safety car came out, it was game on, and I had to really make sure to put a bit of a gap on, and then we got the lap traffic, which made things really interesting.
Crucially, it's all about minimising these little issues like you had yesterday for the championship.
Yeah, like you want to take risks, but controlled risks. So I think we did that, and I think we're in a good position.
Thank you.
Cheers.
It's a busy old pit lane in the back of that shot, wasn't it? Having a chat with Marco. This is alive and well. There is Dan Wells inside the driver's lab, car number 65, and now ranging up on the Lamborghini Auckland car there as well. So we're just watching how this one starts to develop, because these cars, 84 and 65, are 5 and 6 on the road. Gavin Huang is currently our leader to Leon Ho Chi. Adrian Dietz is now on board the 93 car as we start to see the field being cleansed as well. Clay Osborne, of course, we're seeing it live on the screen right now. Dan Wells also in P2.
There's a little bit of a mistake there from Clay Osborne at turn number 5. He's coming under increasing pressure from yesterday's race winner, Daniel Wells, who has taken over in the number 65 machine, the blue and black machine. So that's 1, 2, and 3. The white car of Chang Woo Lee has emerged in third ahead of these two. This is a fight for fourth as we see it right now on the racetrack. And Charles Leong has taken position number 4 from...
Great positioning of the car there, the number 32. Just parked it in the exact right spot, gave car 11 nowhere else to go. The beautiful move there. Gee, we're seeing some good pictures and good driving out of car number 32 in this second race for the weekend. Driving away with it too now. That's some brilliant stuff on track we're seeing here under these full race conditions. Early safety car, the black flag out for a drive-through penalty issued from race control. That is car number 7, the racecraft car, the Hawan Lu and Jiang Song. This is the car that had numerous spins out on track winning the race yesterday. Back of shot there now. That is our good mate Super Chai. And there is John Paul Drake in the number 3.
Yeah, notably in the pit stop sequence, this man, the number 71, has fallen backwards in the Lamborghini Cup class. He was leading that in stint 1. He now sits third, right behind this man, John Paul Drake, who's second in Lamborghini Cup in position number 15 outright. But miles up the road, Harry O in car number 5 sits in position number 11 and leads the Lamborghini Cup class. So not sure exactly how that has all occurred, but there's no doubt about it. Super Chai has lost a hell of a lot of ground compared to his Lamborghini Cup competitors.
Certainly has, and that's troublesome for him. Sutali Pucharon in the AM car as well, number 12 as well. So we're talking a driving infringement for car number 7. So we saw that notification come across our screens. The black flag, a driving infringement. So generally that means interfering with another competitor out on track in some form or another. And number 5 now, Hazik O at the wheel there, the HZO Fortis Racing team by Absolute. is doing a nice job. We're just getting these two cars a good look at them. This is a great battle. And currently for 11th and 12th on the road, there's 78 is Sudluk Butcheron, goes wide, very wide indeed, bounces around in the Huracan Evo 2, loses a spot in the race. In fact, went down. That's possibly being lapped there.
No, that was for position.
That was for position. Well, yeah, there it is. Coming down, I thought it was the number 11 of Gavin Zhuang, but it wasn't. It's Johnson Hua.
It's the identical Arrows Racing car
they
that is identical apart from the number 11 and the number 51. Everything else is exactly the same. There's no doubt about the race leader, though. It's Clay Osborne, but that margin has come down even more. This is a replay. What happened? Just ran wide at turn 9. Never made the apex of 10. Out in the marbles, out in the slippery stuff. And then took a tour of the grass track out the paddock at the back of the bend.
Butcheron, a very, very experienced racer. Sudluk Butcheron was first in the AM class in the Lamborghini Super Trofeo Series in 2018. And we'll go down and chat with Tony D'Alberto.
For this weekend. That's a really good opening stint by you, leading the class, handing the car over to Adrian. But what's your appraisal? You're looking a little bit hot there, mate.
It is a little bit hot in there. Maybe I need to get a little fitter, but yeah, I have felt that these cars are quite hot compared to the GT3 that we raced last weekend. But just still trying to learn this car. You know, my driving styles need a little bit of a change for this weekend to try and get the most out of it. And we're getting better, but I've run out of time to match those front guys. But the racing at the front was absolutely chaotic those first couple laps. I couldn't believe it. It was like it was the last lap of Bathurst. But yeah, plenty on the line here for these guys. So their second round of their championship. And yeah, it's great to see the level of competition is really strong at the pointy end.
You got Dean Canto in your corner this weekend. He was driving one of these cars 12 months ago. Has been full of advice for you.
He's been full of advice, like he normally is, yes. But yeah, he's been a wealth of experience. He obviously runs quite a few of these cars in his team here at the Bend. He's done a lot of laps here. So we've been looking at his data and vision from last year. I still haven't matched his lap time, which he keeps reminding me of. Maybe next year.
Go and get a pizza, mate.
Yeah, thanks very much, guys. Thanks. Cheers.
Great to talk with Tony D'Alberto, a really strong character in Australian motorsport. That Centaur Products family business emblazoned all over this car as well. And Adrian Dietz, a brand ambassador, probably not officially, but just he's waved the flag for Lamborghini Automobili for quite some time. A big fan of the Raging Bull. He loves a car with the Raging Bull in front.
We should say that they both share the car in the GT World Challenge Australia Series, the Huracan GT3 machine, and they were here actually last weekend at the Shell V-Power Motorsport Park competing in that championship. But I love the way Tony gets out the car. It's in a great position. They're running really well, but he's just disappointed he didn't beat Dean Canto's lap from last year. That just shows the mindset of a racing driver.
Yeah, it certainly does. It's a great focus on how they work, and they always strive for greatness. We noticed that with the post-race interview with Dan Wells yesterday. Very, very reflective on the performance of both drivers in the car. Big lunge. The 9 to the outside of the 95 there. So that's the YK Motorsports car with Cat at the wheel in the number 9. And the 95 currently at the wheel there is Wei Zhongji. So battling it out for 7th and 8th on the road, and both AM cars.
And they're both being caught by Jasmine Jafar just behind. The former Le Mans class podium finisher is coming strong late on. He's behind the wheel. That car has moved up a lot of places, and there it is, the white and yellow machine on the screen. He's a real great driver, the only gold-ranked driver in the FIA rankings this weekend. That's due to his Le Mans class podium. He's also been a front-runner in GT World Challenge Asia, driving for 888 with one of the princes a number of years ago. Look at the way he's caught these two. It's like they're standing still in a completely different race. He darts straight to the inside and will take Cat down into turn number 17, and does so very nicely there. And he'll probably also make light work of the car ahead, the number 95 car of Wen Jung Zi, and he's got a great run out of turn number 18, and in fact leads them by the time they cross the line. Jasmine Jafar is a man on a mission. He's absolutely flying at the moment. He's now up to position number 7 in fact, but the margin to the car in front of that is 9 seconds. But don't worry, This man is flying. He's in a different league to those around him at the moment. 9 seconds, 11 minutes. I think he'll catch it. Meanwhile, the number 11, Gavin Huang, sharing the car with Chicotto, has gone off the road. He was in 4th position, and he's dropped down to 6th. So he's dropped behind Charles Leung and also Andre Couto out there in the number 88. So that's a real costly error for the number 11 car.
Andre Couto setting some good sectors when he first got in the car. Just dropped off a bit now. He'll be getting well and truly aware of Jafar coming up, and he'll want to certainly run with Jafar, being that they're both pros. In fact, Andre Couto in 88 also is at the moment. Leon Chao in the 32 and currently in P4. But Clay Osborne continues on. It's not a huge lead, 0.7 seconds. And there it is in reality. That's the Giltrap Group car. We can see the black, red and white car and the blue car of Dan Wells. The 33 getting out of the way very nicely there. Kumar Prabhakaran did a very good job, absolutely staying out of this race. This is for the lead in the race. That's 1 and 2 on the road. Clay Osborne in the 84. Dan Wells in the 65. Both pro-ranked drivers, both dropping these cars down into the low 149s. In fact, Dan Wells, a 149.22. The fastest car happens to be the 32 of Leong Ho Chi, done on lap 11. So the 32 was Miki Kayama on board there, so she clocked the fastest lap of the race during her earlier stint in this one as well. So just interrogating some of those facts that the timesheet can offer up as we're in this last 10 minutes of racing for the 2024 Lamborghini Super Trofeo Asia Series here at Shell V-Power Motorsport Park. Dan Wells doing everything, got all the tricks out now. The Le Mans flashes, I'm coming through. Well, you probably want to get a couple more car lengths closer before you start to send that signal, Dan. But under brakes, ranges right up in the driver's lab. Number 65. The 84 still has the lead, and this is a great experience for Clay Osborne, racing in one-make sports cars around in the Southern Hemisphere this year as well. So doing a terrific job, the Lamborghini Auckland team. They've acquitted themselves very well. They had a horrible race yesterday. It was they got involved in someone else's taken off on the track there, and that really affected their result. Dan Wells is got the bit between the teeth. He wants to get on the big jet airplane and head home at the end of this weekend with 2 winning trophies. Clay Osborne, the leader in this race, out in front. Have a look at that view out the front. That's what every race driver wants. A bit of a double dip there. Are the tyres starting to get a little bit overheated on the front of this car? He's just having a little bit of an extra dip at the steering wheel there. A multiple feed into those front wheels, but still driving the power, not sparing the horses at all on the rear tyres.
Speaking to Clay's co-driver Marco Giltrap about tyres yesterday, he said that because of the weather conditions being so cool here this weekend, it's a lot less strenuous on the tyres than any other round they go to. So they don't need to think about tyres anywhere near as much as they normally would. They still do. They still do have to think about tyres a little bit, but it's not like they're nursing it all the way around. They can push pretty hard, but they probably can't push 100% of the time. Is a little mistake there from Wells.
Maybe that's what we're seeing, Dan. Maybe we're seeing Clay Osborne just try and work the tyre a bit more to get some more temperature into it, because there certainly wasn't getting out of the throttle. Normally, if you've got a front tyre coming off mid-corner like that, you hear them modulating the throttle. The throttle was being buried to the floor, but certainly trying something with the front wheels there. A little bit of a movement there under Dan Wells. He is certainly pushing very, very hard. He has certainly set the fastest lap in that car, where it was Marco Giltrap in the 84 in the earliest stint on lap 4 set the fastest lap here, but 65. We'll monitor the gap. It's been under 1 second now for at least the last 4 laps, but hasn't been under about 0.9. So at the moment, Dan Wells not being able to impress too much on the gap to Clay Osborne.
Despite the mistake at turn number 12 that lap, which cost him 3/10, he was still a 10th faster than Clay Osborne that lap in clear air. That's telling. So despite a mistake, he was still faster than the race leader. This is a fascinating battle, but time is ticking. He's only now got 6.5 minutes left on the clock. If he's going to do it, he has to do it soon. I believe Callum is down there in the lane with one of our female racers.
Thanks, boys. Down here with Miki in the pit lane. You're currently in 4th. You finished 3rd yesterday. Can you take that little step forward?
Yeah, but today I did, I had a mistake a lot, so I just wanted to sorry to my teammate. But, good thing is I got the fastest lap just now, so yeah, it's okay.
Well done. Hope to see you on the podium. Well done.
Thank you.
I think very well done to Miki Kama. She's come here today and she's apologising to her co-driver for putting the car in a great position in the race and acquitting herself very well. Yeah, drivers make mistakes, and she's put her hand up and said, yeah, I apologise for that. But I've got to say, out of that stint, it was 99% good, 1% a little mistake. And we all make mistakes at some point in time.
I think she's been very harsh on herself. I thought she's driven magnificently well all weekend long. And she's new to the category this year. And, mistakes do happen. But there is no doubt that her and her co-driver, Charles Leong, who sits in 2nd position, have the pace to take race victories this year, and their time will come. I have no doubt about that. This is the fight for 6th position. I said Jafar was the fastest man on the racetrack, and he has already caught Huang. That was about 5 minutes ago. The margin then was 9 seconds. It's 9/10 of a second or less as Jafar swings to the inside into turn 13. That's a risky move if you're not fully alongside, but great heads-up driving from Huang. He saw that coming, left the door ajar, and the number 8 filled the gap and has moved up now into position number 6. This is actually a pretty interesting battle because, yes, he's moved up into 6th, but it's 2nd in the Pro-Am fight. The margin, though, to the car ahead is pretty significant. He's 21 seconds behind. Oh, I know Jafar's good, but 21 seconds in 4 minutes, I don't see that happening.
Yeah, there's a major drama has to happen up the road further from him there. But I mean, it's going to be interesting to monitor that gap once we cross the line. Andre Kuta also pushing very, very hard as well. That gap, it's around 7 seconds as well. So we're just getting reports. There's a little bit of light showers in the pit lane. I don't think it's going to play into this race, and in fact, it doesn't even feature on the radar at the moment. But there's the intervals we're getting as we got on the flashes there. Clay Osborne getting through on Superchai, and Dan Wells has just eased off a little bit, 1.23 seconds now. So it was 0.9, now 1.2 seconds. If Dan's not feeling the time is right underneath him, well, they're going to charge away from this weekend with a very, very handy points haul, this team.
Lap traffic may have played a factor, a bit like you see in sports car racing around the world. Lap traffic, they don't necessarily have to just move out the way like they would in a normal race. They do get given the blue flags. They should move out the way, but not always that easy, as we see again. Dan Wells gets balked on the exit of the corner by the number 7 car, I believe that is, and that just shows that lap traffic can play a factor. That cost him 0.3 of a second in the final sector, but not only that, it'll cost him all the way down the pit straight as well, and it's really playing into Clay Osborne's factor into his hands at the moment at the head of the field.
The 56 and the 95, this is a raging battle gone through there. A bit of a wobble on the steering wheel. In fact, there's dust gone up in front of them. They've just driven through that, so something has happened further up the road. These cars, as I said, 9 and 10 on the road. Nicholas Grilazzi and Wenju Zi in the 95, and very, very close indeed here. There's nothing really going on around them, but this battle for 9th and 10th and that great honour of being inside the top 10 in any race is being fought out here. So very proud couple of racing car drivers in the 95 and 78 just trying to establish that moment. Oh, the 75 is carrying a lot of pace there, and the 610 racing car just holding mid-corner. So we'll see how that plays out. 2 black Lamborghini Huracan Super Trofeo Evo 2s battling it out in the last 2 minutes of this race. Boy, the 610 racing car there just props right on the middle of the corner there and making it very, very hard for the 75, having to get out of the throttle, not being able to flow the car through onto the straight this time. And this is where we'll see the straight line handling. Does the 78 dive down the inside here? Or sorry, the 95 looks left, looks right, holds on the spot and outsmarts the 95, gets on through there. So we see that spot change. Nicholas Berardi just getting relegated back a spot.
That was for 10th in the race, but more importantly, that was for a podium position in the AM class. So a change for third in the AM class. The number 78 machine that's still nursing that bodywork damage at the front has moved up a position. So a really nice race from Buncharowan, who is really performing nicely. The next car in front is the 56 machine of Pirlarti. So a pretty great race in the AM class. But out front, it's Clay Osborne from this man on the screen, Daniel Wells. The margin just come down ever so slightly last time by 2/10 faster. Again was Dan Wells, bringing the margin back down to 1.2 seconds. So when they're not in traffic, it does look like Dan Wells is ever so slightly faster. But is it fast enough to make the overtake with just 30 seconds to go? He's running out of time. He's running out of corners. He's got to do it quickly. Oh, that looks pretty wet down there. Was that rain down at turn number 12?
Not sure what was on, but the wipers are certainly on the leader. So, yeah, definitely would have gone through a bit of a shower. It's a freak of nature that's going on down there. We're not seeing it on the radar at all. But when the wipers go on the race car in lead of the race, then, yes, something is going on. Here we are on board with Clay Osborne. Let's just have a listen to this beautiful V10. A faster gear shift down you won't get, will you? That crack down through the gearbox. I've got to say, these normally aspirated V10s enthrall me.
I noticed there a lot of raindrops again in the final sector, so it's going to be a challenging final lap. Oh, the checkered flag has come out a lap earlier than we expected, so Clay Osborne has taken the race victory. We were told it was going to be one more lap to go, but they've pulled the checkered flag. And Osborne takes the win from Dan Wells, and Chang Woo Lee comes across the line in the AM class, third overall, but the winner of the AM category. Charles Leon comes home in fourth, third in the pro class, and then our pro AM class winners, Andre Couto coming home in fifth place. So late changes in position, and they're still fighting out there on the racetrack. This is Huang and Harry O, the 51 and the number 5. This is a fight for 12th position.
It's been going on for quite some time there. Massive congratulations to Marco Giltrap and Clay Osborne for fighting back after a day to forget from yesterday. Dan Wells, a fighting finish there, and the combination at DW Evans Racing and the crew down there with Emilian Carde. A terrific result. They dragged the big points away out of this weekend. Chang Woo Lee, terrific result, the 63, the first AM home, and a country mile back to position number 8, where it was car number 9 that will get the results there, which is Cat and Decathlon as well. So they've done it very, very well. The race is still out on track at the moment for positions 9. Nicholas Prady goes through. Butcheron should be the next one through there as well. And this whole group of cars making their way through to finish the race. The BC Racing car, Arrows Racing Delivery, which has confused me 3 times throughout the weekend. Those 2 cars exactly the same. And John Paul Drake coming to the line there as well in 14th place, combining with Mark Pearce throughout this weekend. Adrian Dietz to the line there as well. So Adrian and Tony Delberto come in for a 15th place indeed. And a great race there again for Lamborghini Super Trofeo Asia, and sadly we wave goodbye to them. This is the results.
Yes, Marco Giltrap and Clay Osborne taking the victory after a disastrous day yesterday. They recover to take the win. It was hard fought though. Dan Wells and Emmeline Cardy threw everything at them in the closing stages of that race. Dan Wells in the end coming home just 0.8 of a second shy of the victory. Chang Woo Lee, or Brian as he likes to be known, came home in third, winning the AM class. What a performance from him. He took it to some of the pros and beat them as well. As we look at the race winners in the lane, here they are. Just getting out is Clay Osborne. Brilliant job by those guys. Really, really nice performance from him. Great rebound after yesterday from Marco Giltrap and Clay Osborne They look pretty pleased with that, and as they should do. It's a great performance from them. Their third victory of the season, their third win in 4 races.
Very happy over there at the SQDA Grid Motorsport team getting themselves home with into 3rd place. And that's a terrific result. Cheng Wu Lee, the first of the AMs home. And just to put some perspective on that, it was Kat and Decathlon that came home in, where were they? About 8th place, yeah. So 5 spots difference between them. Dan Wells just coming over to the New Zealand pair, congratulating them. And there's Brian there as well, just getting congratulated by Dan Lee. So some good camaraderie out there. I will say that there's certainly some strong rivalry, but coming up to congratulate your fellow racer at the end of a race like that is always a sign of a terrific sportsman. And we have got presentations and lots to come, celebrations for the Lamborghini Super Trofeo Asia Series. So it concludes as far as the Lamborghinis go, and we get down to Callum in the lane with the winners.
Thank you, boys. That's a fantastic race by you two. Yesterday was a bit of a horror day, but you've redeemed yourself. What a performance.
Yeah, thank you. Massive thank you to the team. Massive thank you to Marco for driving an awesome first half of the race. It was incredible, and yeah, I'm super happy. Coming from yesterday, from the rear end of the field now to winning, I'm stoked. So yeah, thank you to everyone who made this possible.
And Marco was a lot cleaner into turn 1 compared to yesterday, so you must have been thrilled with that stint to hand the car over to Clay.
Yeah, it still wasn't the best of starts by me. I made it a little bit interesting, but no, we got through in the end and handed it over to Clay, who did a phenomenal job. A really, really good job by him.
So you're both in a fantastic position heading into the next round in Korea. You must be excited.
Yeah, no, I'm excited, obviously, with the championship lead. We'll see what we can do, but yeah, thank you to everyone who made it possible.
Thanks, boys.
Celebrations continue down there in the lane. It's high fives and fist bumps and big handshakes and hugs and cuddles. And gee, I tell you what a feeling that is when you pull the Hankook First Tyres hat on, take that one home, put that in the travel luggage and look after it.
We mentioned there Cheng Wu Lee. Can I just add, yesterday his race finished on lap number 1, so to finish 3rd outright. Phenomenal performance. I believe Callum's down there with our 2nd place finishers.
Yeah, thank you, Dan. Down here with $1 million, as well as Dan Wells. P2, that's backing up P1 yesterday. Fantastic performance. Great for championship points too.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when we came here, we couldn't have expected for more. So we'll take that and we'll work more for the next round.
And you're celebrating just as hard as you did yesterday when you won.
No, I was very unhappy. P2's not what we come here for, but it's such a great circuit, hard to overtake around here. Credit to Osborne, who drove a stellar race. The first few laps, he was making a lot of mistakes. I was getting closer, but yeah, the dirty air around here is very, very tricky in the middle sector. But great racetrack, really enjoyed the time here at the Bend. And a big thanks to Lamborghini Kobe for the support, the whole DW Evans GT team, and also Prosperity Investment Management for what's been 1st and 2nd improvement on Sepang. And now we go to Injay and hope to go a step further.
Congratulations, guys.
Thanks very much.
Dan Wells, spoken like a true pro, didn't come here to come 2nd, did he? And just a little bit of disappointment that as a true pro like he is, remembers to thank everyone around him for the efforts to make the team a winning outfit yesterday. But certainly we get that. Looking on board, that is the winning car, and Callum's got the 3rd place getters in for an interview.
Thank you, boys, in the commentary box. Here with Brian Lee, the solo driver on the podium. You must be thrilled with that.
Yeah, actually it was so hard. Actually, solo driver, so we got some 3-second penalty. But they did a very good setup, and also this is 2nd time race here, so a little bit familiar with that compared to before. So yeah, nice job.
Have you enjoyed your time in South Australia?
Yeah, sure, definitely. Yeah, I really like the Van circuit. Yeah, this is some high speed and also road speed. Is elevation is fantastic, I think. Yeah.
Congratulations, Brian.
Thanks so much. Thank you.
Super impressive, Dan. Both you and I have been very impressed with how he's gone about his racing this weekend, and really grateful to see how much he's enjoyed himself here as well. So can't wait to see for the 3rd year in a row to see if Brian can come back. Cheng Wu Lee and a solo drive, did it by himself as well. So got to say that's a really enjoyable weekend, and I think he's going to celebrate quite hard today after this one.
He finished second in race 1 of the season, finished in class, finished first in the second race. Yesterday, his race finished on lap 1, turn 1. It was a disaster for him. So for me, the fact that he's come back with no racing laps this weekend to do what he just did makes that even more remarkable. So brilliant job from him this weekend. Charles Leong and Miki came home in that number 32, the red machine, in position number 4, ahead of Andre Couto in the number 88 machine. So he shares the car with Chen. So that was a great performance from them in the Pro-Am division. They really snuck under the radar and in the late on in the day and came home to win the Pro-Am class and finish in the top 5 as well. 21 seconds ahead of Jafar, who really came home strong late on and did very, very nicely to finish in position 2 in the Pro-Am class.
Just getting a quick look there at the John Paul Drake, Mark Pierce car, Callameister Wines there. Here it is, provisional results. Marco Giltrap and Clay Osborne take race 2, race 4 for the season, but race 2 here for the Lamborghini Super Trofeo Series at Shell V-Power Motorsport Park. Dan Wells and Emilian Carde take position number 2. Brian Lee, Changwoo Lee in position number 3. Charles Leong and Miki Kayama. Miki did the fastest lap of that race, and that's a very, very strong achievement. Coming down pretty hard on herself in a during race interview there, but I tell you what, going away just like Changwoo Lee. Should be very proud of the work there. Charles Leong joining in there as well. Cheng Feng Ping and Andre Kurta. Andre Kurta coming through with the goods after being handed the car. Selim Rafiq and Jasmine Jafar. Dan, you've been very impressed with how Jafar has driven all weekend long. Home ultimately in 6th place. That's a good result. Gavin Huang and Jonathan Chicotto. John started off nicely in that race, ultimately home in 7th place. And then we have the number 9 car there as well. Getting home, Thomas Lecue and Nicholas Parati in 9th, and Sudlik Butcheron, the 2018 AM champion, coming home in 10th place.
Beyond that, the number 95 car of Zhang Yu and, of course, Wei Yun as well. Beyond that, Johnson Huang finished in 12th. Good performance from him in that one. Then the Lamborghini Cup class winner, Harry O and Hazik O, coming home in position number 13, just a couple of seconds ahead of the Aussie combo of John Paul Drake and Mark Pierce. So it's a really good fight in the Lamborghini Cup in the end, and it went the way just about for the number 5 machine. Adrian Dietz and Tony D'Alberto in the end finished in position at number 15. Not quite as good as they were yesterday, but they thoroughly enjoyed their time in the series, finishing ahead of Superchai, who finished a lap down, and then Prabhakaran in position number 17. Luo in the number 7 car did finish last on the road, but fortunately today no spins, no incidents, no accidents, so that's a bit more of a box ticked and a good improvement in lap time as well, taking a couple of seconds off his best lap in the race yesterday. Just the one non-finisher due to that tyre delamination that we saw on pit straight. That was for the number 77 machine of He. So there are a lot of talking points in that one, but another really exciting race in Lamborghini Super Trofeo Asia, with the next round set to take place in South Korea.
Yeah, looking forward to seeing how that one plays out. There it is. The season started in Sepang, round 2 here in South Australia. Inji and the South Korean race, Fuji, Japan, Shanghai, China, Jerez de la Frontera, Spain, and we go to the podium.
Cars are just, people are still heading around there, out the back, walking towards the podium. So not too far away from the podium, but we look down at the round winners. They got the most points overall, 27 points for Dan Wells in the number 65 car, and I believe Callum's down there at the podium.
Ladies and gentlemen, now is the podium ceremony for race 2 of 2024 Lamborghini Super Trofeo Asia here at Shell V-Power Motorsport Park. This is presentations for Pro Class. Now let's invite the winning drivers onto the podium. Number 84 in the Absolute Racing entry, driven by Marco Giltrap and Clay Osborne. And in second position, the number 65 DW Evans GT, driven by Dan Wells and Emilian Carde. And in third position, the number 32 SJM Iron Lynx Theodore Racing entry of Charles Leong and Miki Koyama. It's now my honour to invite Mr. Peter Crombie Brown, Country Manager, Oceania Automobili Lamborghini, to present the trophies to the winners. And let's invite the winning team onto the podium. Absolute Racing. And it's my honour to now invite Mr. Suraj Mata, the Marketing Manager of Hankook Tyre Australia, to present the trophy to the winning team. Now, winners and guests are now invited to take photos. And now it's champagne time.